Hello everyone, it's Harshit from Lovely Professional University Phagwara, and we are on a series to learn Python from basic concepts to the concept of object-oriented programming. And till the end of the series, we will be covering all the concepts till object-oriented programming. And in today's lecture, we are going to learn about Python, Python strings and lists, that how these two data types are actually working. But before that, we will have a quick revision from the previous lecture. So what we actually covered in previous lecture is we have actually learned how loops are working, how conditional statements are working, and how we can use conditional statements with loops and with operators. And we have actually done a series, a series of all questions, all type of questions which can be made, and we have actually learned about pattern printing and all. So with all that, I hope that you guys have solved every question which I have given you in the previous lecture. And if you guys have not, then please go solve them. And for those questions, if you want to see if you want to see those questions, then there is a Google Drive link in my previous lectures video description. You guys can go and click on that link, and you will see this. You will see those questions. So in today's lecture, we will be learning about strings in Python and lists. Okay, so our main goal of learning objectives is first understand sequences in Python. Then second, we will be mastering strings completely. Then third, we will be learning the concept of indexing and slicing. At fourth, we will be understanding how string methods work. Then now again, before all this, if you haven't watched the previous lectures, please go watch them. If you have any issues, any problems, or any weak spots in earlier concepts, you guys can actually go and complete those concepts. Now coming back to our topic, and then we will be learning about how can we actually create lists. Okay, then we will learn list creation and manipulation. Then we will understand what's mutable and immutable objects. Then we will master the list methods, and then we will solve some programming problems. Okay, so that we will be actually preparing for our examinations and company companies interviews and all. Okay, so for our part one of this lecture, it will be introduction to sequences. Okay, so at first, let's just understand that until now, our programs have mostly worked with single values like single number, single variable, single decision. But what if we want to store 100 students name or 500 product prices, an entire sequence? Then Python gives us sequences. Okay, so you will ask me that what is this sequence thing? So this sequence is actually a collection of elements stored in a particular order. Okay, so that's what sequence is. We can actually understand by its name. We have actually heard this word many times before, that a sequence is a collection of elements stored in a particular order. That in a when some elements are stored in a particular order, they are falling under the category of a sequence. Okay, example example is like if I'll just write if I'll write here Python. So this Python word is actually in sequence. Okay, what's the sequence here of Python? There is a sequence of characters here. That it's all in a sequence. That at first place there is P, at second place it's Y, at third place it's T, at fourth place it's H, then O and N. So this is our sequence in Python. Okay, then we can actually store sequence of numbers. Okay, so for a sequence of numbers, we can actually do what? 10, 20, 30, 40. These are all our sequence of numbers. But these sequence of numbers are actually written in a particular format of data type. So these data types are known as, for the alphabets, those data types are known as strings, as we have learned earlier in our data type lecture in lecture one, that there is string. That's why we are every letter which we are putting in double quotes actually is falls under the category of string data type. Then for that for our number sequence, we actually write it in square square braces, and this square braces, these two square braces are actually the indicator of our our data type of list. A list data type is actually is can actually be made when when data is written between two square braces. That is like this: 10, 20, 30, and 40. And now if I'll just type its data type, print type A, okay, and if I'll now run my code, it will give me class list. That means this is the data type list. For defining a list, it's very simple. You have to assign a variable, then in front of that variable, every letter, every word, every numeral you are going to write in these two square braces falls under the data category of list, irrespective of their own data category. If I'll write 10, then I'll write 5. So even this is also known as a list. Okay. So let's just understand strings first because it's very much easier. Okay. So now let's just understand some terminologies. Okay. That now both of these data types actually support some functions. Okay. Some functions and some terminologies. Okay. First of them is indexing. So what's actually indexing? You know, we all got a roll number when we first rolled in our school classes or anywhere like that. So we got those roll numbers so that there's a sequence of ours that the first roll after that first roll number there will be sitting second roll number in the examination and then third, then fourth, then fifth, then sixth, then until till the last number. Okay, so that's also known as indexing. Okay, so for that indexing, if I'll just create a string a is equals to, then I'll create a string h hello, hello. So this hello has a sequence. This hello is written in a sequence that H is first, then E is second, then L is third, then again L is fourth, then O is fifth. Okay. So this hello word, we have got a sequence. Okay. To actually make that sequence, we have got the concept of indexing. Okay. So when I'm speaking about indexing, when I'm indexing is actually what in this indexing, what's happening is that every letter which is written in that string is assigned with a particular number, particular roll number. If I'll just give you an example, if I'm a teacher and taking attendance and I'll say that roll number 20 come in front of me. Okay, roll number 20 stand, roll number 22 stand there. So I'm just calling a person by its roll number, okay, which was assigned by me or which was assigned by the systems. Okay, so that's also known as indexing. Okay, here that roll number is known as the index of this. Okay, so the indexing actually here in Python starts from 0, then it goes till the end element. What it goes till the length of that variable, length minus 1. Okay, so here for the indexing part, its indexing will be h is at index 0, e is at index 1, l is at 3, then no, l is at 2, then another l is at 3, and then o is at 4. So its indexing will go like indexing will goes like, if I'll just give them all a roll number or an index, so I can write the index of h is 0, then the index of e is 1, then the index of l is 2, then again the index of l is 3, then then now index of o is what? Index of o is 4. So these are my indexes. These are my indexes. Now if I want to call a single number, not a single number, a single element from that string. See, if I want to print that string, I can just write print. I can just write print a. Okay, I can just write print a. It will give me the output as a string. But now, if I want to get an index of a string, get a particular character from that string, so that's where indexing actually comes. So that's where we can actually use indexing. Okay, so this indexing, I'm just giving an overview. We'll learn these concepts. Okay, during this lecture. Okay, then there comes slicing. Slicing actually, what does slicing means? If I have a piece of if I'm having a cake and I'm saying that slice that cake into eight parts, what we are doing, we are dividing that cake into eight equal parts. Okay, that's what slicing means, and that's what it means in Python also. In strings, for slicing, we will be separating a string from the given indexes, and it will be separated into two or three or four different parts. Okay, two, three, four different smaller strings and all. Okay, then there is also a terminology length calculation. For that length calculation, we now from the indexing concept, from the overview of that indexing concept, we know that every string, every list have their particular length. Okay, so for that particular length, if we want to know their length, there's a keyword known as len. Okay, so if I'll for that len, it almost works. It has the same syntax as type, or when we want to know the type of a particular thing, it has same concepts. Okay, so I'll just put len, then I'll just put a bracket here, and I'll put a bracket here. Okay, and now if I'll run my code, it actually gives me the length of that keyword, length of that variable. So length of this string variable is 5. Okay, so that's what a length calculation is. Okay, now see, now let's just understand. String and list differ in one very important way. That thing is, strings are actually immutable, whereas lists are mutable. That means if I have written hello in hello in this string, I cannot change this hello again. These are not dynamic, as we have done in the variable part in the earlier lectures, that we have learned that we can actually dynamically update the value of those variables. But now if I have assigned the value hello, so I can't make any changes. If I want to change that this L must not be here and then there is be P, we can't do it via code. Okay, via code we can't actually change it. Okay, but in lists we can actually change them. Lists are actually dynamic for that memory. That lists can be changed. Okay, lists are mutable. That means we will be doing that mutable mutable thing and immutable thing. We will be changing the values via using indexing and the slicing parts. Okay, so now let's just proceed to our strings. Okay, so now let's just go in a little depth for a string part. Okay, so now let's just understand that what's a string. Okay, what's a string? String is a data type in which we are writing. String is a data type in which we are actually writing characters, numerals, alphabets in double quotes, single quotes, or triple quotes. Okay, so here I have created a string using these double quotes. Okay, but I can also create this string using single quotes. See, now it's also a string. If I'll just print its type, it's also a string. It's also a string. Okay, even if I'll put here triple quotes. Okay, and then I'll again enter it. It's also a string. If I'll just put double quotes here. Okay, I'll just put here double quotes. Then this is also a string. Okay, see, all we can actually assign a string via writing our numerals or our alphabets in double quotes. It just doesn't go with the alphabets, it also goes with the numerals. So everything we can write in between these double quotes will be known as string. Even if I'll write a special character here, it will still show me the output as the class of this is string. Okay. If I just if I just put a exclamation sign, okay, then again it's a string. Okay. So see, for making a string, for assigning a string, for creating a string in our programming language in Python, we actually put two two double quotes, one at the end, one at the start. In between them, whatever we are writing will fall under the category of string. See, I can actually create a string as hello at the rate 13. 1295. Okay. And then if I'll also create an output, it's still in string. So that's how we can actually assign a string, or create a string. Okay. Then let's go for that indexing part. Okay. So there is this indexing here. So let me just do one thing. Okay. Let me just write hello here. Okay. Now for that indexing, what happens here is there is two types of indexing. Okay. There is one positive indexing and then there is negative indexing. Okay. So what's positive indexing and what's negative indexing? We can actually understand that for that positive indexing, we will be working with the positive numbers, and for that negative indexing, we will be working with the negative numbers. Okay. So whenever I'm saying about indexing, see here, for having an index from this, for having an index from this, I can just I can just write print a, then double quotes, then if I just write one, I'll enter it. Yeah. So this little one right here is actually a index. Okay. This one is an index which was given to our character E. So this is our positive indexing, where we are calculating the index from left hand side to right hand side, and it all goes from at the very left very left character it's assigned with 0, and at the rightest character it's assigned with the highest number, which is length minus 1. Okay. And now if I talk about negative indexing goes from right hand side to left hand side. Okay. So in that part, the right the most the number which was on the right hand side is assigned as -1, and the number which is at the most left hand side is assigned with the length -1 again. Okay. But now that length is in negative value, so why do we require a positive indexing or negative indexing? Okay, so we actually require positive and negative indexing is when, see, for a positive indexing, if I if someone has given me a character 120 with a length of 120, okay, 120 characters, okay, someone has provided me a string of length 120, and they are saying that, okay, go check if the first character of that string is a alphabet or not. Okay, so I can do that by my eyes. Okay, if I'll see and I'll just call that character by this. Okay, this is how we can actually get get an index. Okay, for that index, the syntax is the name of the variable, square braces, and between that the index of that object. Okay, index of that element. So they have said me that go check what's at the very first index. So I'll just put a is equals to 0 and I'll just check it. Okay. So I can see here it's edge. And for if someone asks me what's its type, so I'll just write it type. Okay. Then I'll do it like this and I'll just run. See, this is now a class string. Okay. So I can say them, yeah, it's a string. Or if they are just asking me for that particular element, they are saying that access the element at the very first place in the string, so I can actually access that by positive indexing if they are not giving me a length. Okay. And if now they have given me a string, and now they are saying that, okay, I'm not giving you its length, and go access it last index. Okay, go access its last index and give me what's that element in that last index. So now let's just assume that after this hello, let me just write random gibberish. Okay. So now I don't know what's the length of this. Okay. So if someone asks me that to access the element which is at very last, so how can I access it when I don't know the length? So that's where negative indexing comes in. Okay, negative indexing actually helps us to access the elements from the last, and the positive indexing will help us the elements to access from the first. Okay, so now if I want to check what's the element at the last, I can just write a is equals to -1. That's the first negative index. Okay, and now if I just run it, I'll have my answer as D. So if I just see the last character, it's D. Now, if someone says to me that, okay, access the fourth last element, so I can just write -4. And now if I'll enter it, It's G. So let me just check. It's one, two, three, four. Yeah, fourth last element is G. Now, if someone has said me, check the 10th element from the start, that what element comes 10th from the start. So I'll just do that. They have given me a length of 10. 10, okay. Now I'll not write 10. If I'll write the 10, then it's actually giving me the 11th character, okay. So I'll just write 9 because we will always go length minus 1. And now if I'll enter it, see, it's 2. So if I'll just check it, it's 0, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, sorry for this. In the slicing part, we are actually starting the indices from 0. So we can actually write the original length, okay. So it's my 10th element, okay. So see, that's where indexing actually comes. We can actually do indexing with, okay, let's just understand the indexing part first. I'll teach you that afterwards, okay. Now, as you have learned about the positive indexing and negative indexing, where they can be used, now let's just move towards our next topic, which is slicing. Okay. Now in slicing, what's the need of slicing? If someone asks me in in this string, if someone asks me, give me the element which is actually, give me all the elements which are at even indexes. So, I can't write every element's index, like I'll write 2, then I'll write 3, I'll write 4. No, I can't do like that, okay? So that's where slicing actually comes in. So for that syntax of that slicing part, it actually, its syntax is more like ranges. Its syntax contains, wait, yeah, its syntax contains a double same everything, indexing, slicing, both have the same syntax. And for the slicing part, our syntax is similar to the range. How do we define a range? We put a start, then we put a column, then we put a stop, then we are putting a step. Okay, this was our syntax for ranges, and this was a similar syntax for our slicing. Okay, so if I'll just see at this, it's for slicing, our syntax is that variable square brackets. Between that square brackets, there are three things: start, stop, and step. So now there is there are two things. Okay, there is a forward slicing, then there is a reverse slicing, skipping the characters. Okay, and there is reversing a string. Okay, so now what's happening here is, okay, so now if I'll just say that for that forward slicing, it's more similar to forward indexing, okay, or positive indexing. For that forward slicing, we will be slicing the string from the front, from left to right. For backward, we will be going from the right to left. If I'll show you an example, I can give it a start at 0, then I'll give it a stop at what? Okay, let's just check if what's the length of the string. Okay, then I will give you print len a, then I will enter it 31st. Okay, so its length is 31st. Keep this in mind, guys. Okay, now I've got a stop at 31st, and okay, stop is at 31st, so I'll put it 32, not 32, I'll just put it at 33. Then it asks me for a step. Okay. So for a step, if I want to print all even even values on that string, I'll just put 2, a step of 2. Now if I'll run it, see, there is every even element which we can see. 0, then 1, then 2. Okay, so that's where our ending, till that's what our ending looks like. Okay, so this is our, what can I say? This is how we can actually slice it. Okay, if I'll just put a stop and step. I'm going to stop and step. If I want to split the string in half, then what can I actually do? I can actually do one thing. I have it start, okay. I have it step, okay, stop, and then I have a step, okay. So if I want to split the string in half, I can actually do one thing. That what's my length? What's the length of my string is 31. Okay, let's just make it even. Make it 30. Okay. So now if I just create a step of 15, okay, and I'll run this. See, b at 1 minus b, it's at half. If I just write it at 14, we need to stop at 30. See, at first it's h, then it's the c, then at the end it's q. That's where I stop. At this c part, at this c variable, a string will be divided equally at half. If I just create it as another string, okay, and I'll just put b is equals to this, and now if I'll just print len a, okay guys, and I'll just enter it. It's 13, okay. Print len a is 13, and print length of b is 17. Okay, wait, I have took the wrong c, I guess. Either maybe this one C, okay. So see, that's how we can actually split a string in half, okay. With the help of slicing and indexing, we are doing this, okay. Then we have actually printed all the even characters of characters who are appearing at even indexes in the string. So we are actually skipping the characters, okay. Then we can actually write the string in the next in the reverse order also. So if I just wait, if I just write hello here, okay, and now I'm just putting now I'm giving it a start, stop, and a skip. Okay, so it start is at 0, then stop is at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. Okay, we will give it a start at -1, then we will give it a stop at -5, and we will give it a index at -1. Okay, now if I'll run this code, uh, 0, 1, 2, at the negative points, we will go to n minus the length, so it's -6. So see, I have actually reversed this thing. No matter its length, if I'll just create a hay also, and I'll just put now -10. Now I'll enter it. See, we have reversed the string. So with the help of slicing and reversing by the gaining the knowledge of reversing a string, we can actually check if a word is same when we spell it from the starting and when we spell from the ending. So how can we see the word Malayalam? Okay, the word Malayalam actually spells the same when we are spelling it from the left to right and right to left. How can we check that? Let's just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'll just put it. This is 9. Okay, this will be the reverse part, and then I'll just print 8. Okay, and I'll run it. See, see Malayalam, and then it's Malayalam. It's the same word. Okay, whenever we are spelling it from the start and at the end, okay, it's okay. It's the same word now. So this is how we can actually check if a word is spelled same when we are reversing it or not. So that's where our indexing and slicing actually comes in. Now, now there are actually our characters known as operators in this. Okay. Now there are operators in strings. Okay. So now let's just move towards the operators part. Okay. So what this operators mean? Okay. There is a first operator, concatenating operator. Okay. And okay. So let me just tell you one thing. We can actually just use the stop part and the step part also there for our string. Okay, if I want to reverse the string, I can remove all this and I can still run it. It will still give me. Okay, I forgot to put the columns here. And now if I just run it, see, it's still reversing the string. For reversing the string, you don't need the start and the stop. You can just enter a -1 here, and you can actually reverse the string. Okay. Now there are operators with, by which we are going to operate in strings. Okay. First operator is our concatenation operator. Concatenation operator, what it actually does is it actually adds two strings. That means if I just want to add two strings, okay, if I want to write hey here, okay, then there is a string b, okay, there is a string b where I'm writing learner, okay. So now if I want to print these two strings, I can write print a, okay, then write print b, then I have to write it, and then these two are in two different lines. If I want to print it in a single line, I can write hello. But we can actually make this a bit simpler. How can we do this? We can actually create another variable c. Now this c is equals to, now this c will be equal to what? Now this c will be equals to a plus b. And now if I just write print c, it has given me hello. Okay. Now if I write, now for this concatenation part, we have actually done a pretty good job right here. That we can actually now create another variable which can hold both of the strings. But you know, there's a shortcut of this. What the shortcut here is, if I just write a, okay, then I'll write plus, then I want to add some words between these. A young learner. Okay, then I'll just put a young learner, and I'll just put a yes, I mean, there we go. We can actually add strings. We can actually add words, add characters between these things. Okay, so that's why our concatenation operator actually works. Our concatenation operator actually looks like this plus sign. It's actually a plus sign. This is actually adding two strings. But for those adding two strings, we have got the terminology concatenation, concatenate. Okay. So now when I'm going with concatenation operator, now there is another thing as known as repetition. Okay. For that repetition, I have got a repetition operator there. Okay. If someone says print this hay 7 times, so I can just do one thing. I can just print a asterisk 5. Now what's happening here is I'm multiplying a with 5. So that my a will be multiplied 5 times. And if I just enter it, it is giving me hey, 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 hey. Okay. So that's my repetition operator. Okay. Now with that repetition operator, there comes a membership operators. Now in membership operators, it holds two operators. First one is in and second one is not. you know, where can we use our membership operators when we want to know if a particular set of characters is present in a string or not? So if I'll just create a string, hey, learner x Python. Okay, or let's just remove this all. I'll write Python. And now if someone asks me that, Harshit, can you tell me if there is T in this, T in this, what can I say, T in this string? So I can actually write print, print, okay, then print, then just write that character T, and then I'll just write in, okay, in, in A. I can actually write T in Python, okay. So T in Python or T in A, this A here is representing Python. So it is given me a Boolean output which is true, okay. In and not in operators will give us a Boolean output. If I just go and say, is there Z in this? No, false. So that's where in not in operator is actually working. If by this we can actually get a help while checking if a given character is in that set of string or not. This in and not in operators, these two operators are being used in our password makings. When we are making a password, it always says that a character must be there, a numeral must be there, a alphabet must be there, uppercase alphabet must be there. So that's where our in and not in operators are actually working. If I just write this and I just enter it, then it will ask that print. Then if I will put any numeral in it, it will give me false. Okay, but behind that it's a longer code. But for an example, I'm showing you this at example. Okay, so this is one. Okay, so now then I'll get a false, then I'll add a one. Okay, then I'll check for that at the rate. Okay, then I'll again run it. Then it will also show me a false. So I'll put a at the rate right here. So but in the password making part, there is not a single character given. Okay, there is a whole string behind it, and we are actually accessing the elements of that string by using indexing. So our whole concept of strings will be there present there in the backend. So we will be using the concept of indexing. We will be using the concept of in not in operators. We will be using the concept of what slicing, concatenation, repetition, so that we can so that's how we are actually creating a password. Even in writing a password, we are actually using our whole concept of strings and lists. So that's how we are actually creating password. Now if I just check that it must be not in. Okay, so I'll just write z and for not in I'll just put a not in. Okay. Many times when we are creating a password, it says that please don't include your name, your username, or anything related to your username in the password. So if I'm putting my username as Harshit and I'm creating a password as Harshit Sharma 1308. Okay. So wait, let me just enter it. Okay. I have written it Harshit at the rate 1308. Now, if the system wants to check if I have written my username or not, it will just do one thing. Harshit, print Harshit not an A. Okay. And if I'm getting an output as false, that means I've used my username in my so it will give me it will say me that change your password. It contains your name, it contains your username. So that's how we are using not in operators in our password making. Okay. Then there comes our escape characters. Now what are those escape characters? So our escape characters are actually those special characters given to us by Python so that we can actually use them in strings. If I want to print, now if I just want to print, wait, sorry. If I just want to print, what am I printing here is, I'm printing, hey, and now I want to print dot 20. Okay, so all this in first line, okay, and now I'm saying no, it doesn't look very good to me, it doesn't seems very good to me. So how can I actually make it to the next line? Okay, so for moving it to the next line, I can use a backslash and an n. backslash n. Now it will print the next what's after this backslash n. It will now print it in the new line. Okay. So if I just remove this backslash n and I'll enter it, it will say me, hey, how you doing? But if I'll just put a backslash in, then it will then it's going to give me the output in two different ways. Okay, so that's where we can use the escape characters. First one is our next line characters. Okay, then then there is our slash t. Okay, what does this slash t does is it actually it actually adds a block of space between us. Okay, if I'll just write it all like this and I'll just delete it all, delete this. Okay, okay. And if I'll just put it like this, okay, and I'll run it, it will be like this. But now if I'll put a backslash t here and I'll run this code, it has put it a space, okay, block of space. That's where our backslash t works. Okay. Then there comes a double backslash. For this double backslash, for this double backslash, it's actually for you know, it's more similar back. It's double backslash is more similar to show that how to show that yeah, this is the pathway of it. I can't just put a backslash right here. It will count in as a string. Whenever we are writing a memory in our computer's file system, it actually shows that C colon slash slash user colon slash slash John Doe, anything like that. So it's that slash slash doesn't count in as a string. It's actually known as this. It's actually written with the help of this. Okay. So now here comes our backslashes. Okay. So now there is there is the string immutability part. Okay. So for that string immutability part, I'll just give you a task. Can I change Python into okay, let me just let me just try it. Can I change is equals to Python, okay, to just Jython, okay, to Jython. For this, can we change it with the help of indexing, with the help of slicing, okay? Tell me, do it in your system, okay? I am also adding the code, do it in your system. If I'll write it, a colon 0, okay, equals to j, then I print, then I can print, okay, then I'll print it. But before that, I have to put this j as a string also. Then I'll just print a and run. See, it is giving me an error. Okay. For this, I'll just do this. See, STR object does not support item assignment. That means our string in our string we cannot actually change or mutate inside the string. If you have assigned one thing for once, you can't change it. Okay, you can actually concatenate in string. You can actually repeat a string, but you can't change the values which are written inside the string by code. Okay, so that's where our string part actually becomes immutable. So if you guys haven't written this in systems, just write it. Okay, because it's a type error. Right? So that's where strings are immutable. And if I if I want to actually change it, I can actually do one thing. There is just one little thing I can do is, I can just reassign this string. Okay. So when I'm writing it, it will be more similar to J. Okay, J is my string name. Okay. Then I'll just put plus sign. Okay. Then I'll write A bracket colon 1. Now if I'll enter it, it's JP. Okay. So that's where I can actually assign. I've given it a stop. If I'll give it a start, now I'll enter it. JP. I have reassigned here. What I have done is I have actually reassigned it here. That's why it's this. But in that part, I was changing it. Now I'm reassigning it. Reassigning it manually. I'm not changing it. For change is a different thing. For reassigning is a different thing. For change, you can make the change in that particular related subject. But for reassigning, you are writing the whole code. So that's where exactly. Now there comes string methods. Okay, there are many string methods, and we will be doing the string methods. Okay? So our first string method is to convert a string letter to all capital. For all capital, we have got a string method known as upper. This is our keyword upper, and it's called by using parentheses. Okay. For this upper, if someone says that if someone has entered his name, his or her name, okay, is equals to str input, okay, and right, enter your name, and I want their name to be uppercase, so I can just write print upper bracket. Then now if I run the school, enter your name and write first test. And first test will be, there must be some error in this. Okay. For this, there is a particular library out there. Okay. So I haven't downloaded that library, but let me just show you all the string methods which are out there. Okay, so that we can actually understand it. So I can string this. Okay. Now we'll just now these are all the string methods. Okay, which are out for you. Okay. So our first string method is upper. Okay. This upper method is actually converting the first letter of the word to the uppercase. Okay. And then this there comes this lower it converts to lowercase. Then title it gives a title font. Okay. It gives a string to a title, makes a title. Then there is a capitalize. Okay. Then there is a capitalize actually capitalize all the strings, all the elements of the string. Then there is the swap case. Then there is strip, L strip, R strip, replace, find, count. Okay. All these are string methods, but we will be using just is digit, is alpha, is num. Okay. And we will be using the count method and upper, lower. Okay. We will be using just these keywords. Okay. So let me just teach you these ones. Okay. So for is digit, we actually use this is digit keyword when we actually want to know if the given index on that given index there is a digit alphabet numerical or it's a digit, okay, or a space. So that's where we are using all these four, okay, when we are using these four keywords. So that's where we are using. Okay, you guys can actually have a screenshot of all these, or I'll just put them in the description. Just go and check them out. Okay. Now, guys, let's just let's just do some practice problems. Okay. Now, for the practice problems, let's just do one. Okay. Now, let me give you one string. I'm giving a string a equals to a. Okay. Now, I have given you a string a equals to a. Now, you have to count the number of characters using length. Okay. So for that, I'm doing with you. So it's len bracket len a and we'll just enter it. So length of this is 3. Now, what you guys have to do is now I'm giving you a learner. Let's learn that. Now you guys have to print every element which is at even indexes. Do that, guys. If you guys have done that, now let's just now reverse the string. Okay. If you guys have reversed the string, now let's create a program which actually takes a word from the user and actually checks if that is a palindrome or not. What's a palindrome? Palindrome. A palindrome is actually palindrome is actually it's a word which actually checks if the input or if the word which is given to us is equal when we are spelling it from right to left and left to right. Okay, so let's just check from user. I just put a is equals to input interval. Okay. Okay, so I might be wrong at this palindrome terminology. I'm not getting the word right now. Okay, but the concept is this. Okay, so there must be a different word for it. Okay, so let's just check it first. Okay, if if a bracket. Okay, or let's just create b is equal to a slice column negative one. Okay, and if a is equals to b, print yes. And print false. Okay, now if I enter a word, I'll put this word HH. Okay, so yeah, it's a palindrome. But now if I'll not a palindrome, it spells correct. It spells it correct. Okay, if I'll write hey, yeah, it's false. Now let's see what are the concepts we have actually covered. We have actually reversed a string. Okay, we have assigned it to a new variable. Then we have used the conditional statements. We have used the logical operator double equals to. That's how we are actually combining those concepts at once. Okay. Now, what's your what's your homework for from this lecture is that let's you guys will take a you guys will take a string from the user. Okay, you guys will count all the letters, then reverse that string. Then after reversing that string, then you guys will concatenate that string to itself. Okay, then print it. At first the string will be printed in a single line, then print it in a new line. Okay, that first time here, second time here, third time here, then fourth, repeat that string to 10 times and get all the outputs what we have done in this video. Okay, now guys, let's just do, let's just move towards our next part, which is actually list. Okay, now lists are the data types which are immutable. Okay, for that immutable data type of list, what we ca- what we actually do is what we are actually doing is that in that list, for assigning a list, let me just show you how can we assign list. Okay, For assigning a list, it's just variable equals to square braces, and whatever you are adding in this falls under the category of list. Square braces with, if you are writing numerals, separate them by comma. Now if I'll write print type A, I'll just enter it. Okay, like see, it's a list. So for assigning a list, what we are actually doing is we are actually putting all our characters in square braces so that it falls in the category of list. Okay. Now why are lists required and why can't we do the work in Python? So in this we can actually store multiple different types of data type. Okay. If I want to enter the data type of a student's details, I can actually write std dot details. Okay, sorry, I can't put that. I will put the underscore and I will just copy this name. Okay. Now for this, let's just assume that 10 is his whole number. His name is John Doe. Okay. Then his class is his class is 10. Okay. His class is 10. Now even if I do this and I just print the type of grade, hmm, for this, type, it's still in a class of list where we are actually entering multiple data types. That's 10 John Doe. If I even put this 12, not this 12, let's just enter its weight 70.5, and I'll again enter it. It's still a class of list. So what inside this list, it's actually a combination of integer, alphabets, or a string and floats. That's where strings can be used. Okay. In strings we can use multiple data types. If I want to do this in a not in strings, in lists. Okay. If I want to store the name of multiple students, okay, what can I do? And for strings I can write std1 equals to Arshit, then I'll write std1 equals to uh, then I'll write std2 equals to std3 equals to here Divyansh 2. Okay. So now there are three different things I've created for just writing the names, but I can do all that in just one list. Okay. So for that list I can actually do this. I'll just do it like this, and now if I'll just go and copy these, so now if I'll just copy both of these, and now I'll just go and paste them like this. Okay. So now if I'll just put a comma between all these, I'll just close it. Okay. Oh, I can put a double quotes right there. I'll just put double quote and I'll just print std1. Okay. Now if I just do this, I'll get a list. Okay. So that's why we are using lists. And lists are actually mutable. That means we can actually change things in list. Okay. And I will write std1 and then I'll put the index std1 2. Okay. Equals to, I'll change it to what can I change it to? let's try, let's write Aman. Okay, now I'll see. It has changed. The name which was at index of 2, it has changed. I can again change this from Aman to can I think Pushkar. Okay, and then I'll enter it. So see, there is a that's what shows that lists are actually mutable. We can change, we can make changes in our lists. Okay, so that's why lists are actually useful to us. Okay, lists can actually hold mixed data types, and it has it every other verb is similar to strings, which in which we are actually doing the in which we are actually doing the slicing, indexing, everything is more similar to string. So I'll be not teaching you guys again and again. I have taught you how can we actually mutate in that list. Okay. Then there are operators, concatenation, repetition, in, not in. So those operators you guys can use. Okay. Then there are some built-in functions known as len, max, min, sum, sorted. So that those functions are actually used. The len function is actually used to actually see that what's the length of our list. Then our max function actually is used to check what's the maximum value in our list. If I'll just check it, okay, if I just go and let me just do one thing, I'll just remove it. Okay, good. Let me just create a new list. Okay, I'll just create a list. lst is equals to just put a list 10, 20, 50, 70, 100, 100.5, 1000.4, 1000.4 C. Okay. And now if I'll write print max in a C. Okay. And if I'll enter it, it has given me the maximum value for sure. If I'll write instead of max, if I'll write min, okay, and I'll again do it, it will give me the minimum value. Now if I'll just mix it up with some random values, okay, now I'm just mixing it up with some random values which I don't even know. Okay, so now if I just put sorted, then it will actually move the characters by its own, and it will actually put them in an ascending mode. Okay, so that's where a built-in function min, max, sorted comes. Now if I'll just actually write some keyword, okay, and I'll just enter it, it will give me the sum of every character, every number which is in this list. Now if I'll just put it, if I'll just write okay, these are all built-in. Okay. Now, if I want to actually reverse it, I can actually do it again. I can actually write for this. I have to get a library. So I'll I'll show you guys this in next lecture. Okay. I'll just show you the methods. So these are the methods. If I want to enter any word, I can write print. If I want to extend the length of that list, I will write. I will use the extend keyword. If I want to insert it, this insert and this append is two different things. At this append, it will actually enter our value at the very last, at the last index. Whereas in this insert, we can actually put our value at any index. Okay. Then there is this remove. For this remove one, we can actually remove it from any index. This pop, this pop will actually remove the value which is at the very last of our list. Then there is this index for getting the index, okay. Then there is count, sort, reverse, okay. So these are the these are the things which we can do with the list, okay. So now if I just remove it all, okay. So now guys, I have covered the built-in functions now. We can actually use the in and not in operators. Okay, there is one another concept known as nested lists. Nested lists are actually known as lists which are containing another list. If I just write, let me just if I just create another list here inside this list which contains 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.45. Okay, so now this is a nested list. Now if I just control X or control X right here, and if I just put it at any index wherever I want. Now it's put it at this index. Now if I want to access this element, what will I do? I'll just write list and then I'll just take its index. So what's its index? So its index is 2. Now if I run it, I've got my own list. Okay. But now if I want to actually get particular particular elements from the nested list. Now this is a we know the terminology nested. Okay, we have actually worked with two nested things: nested conditionals, nested ifs, and nested loops. Okay, so now for that nested list, if I want to actually check if I want to access an element which is inside this list. So first I'll write the index of this list, then I'll write the index of my nested element. So let's just say my index of nested element is 3, then it's 1.45. If I'll check it, it's actually 1.45, it's correct. So for accessing elements from the nested list, first we will put the index of our nested list, then we will put the index of our element which is inside the nested list. So that's how we can actually use a nested list. Okay, we can actually access the nested list. Now I'll give you one homework from this lecture. Okay, your homework from this lecture is that please guys do the homework. Okay, first you guys have to take a list. Okay, made up of different numbers, floats, integers, I don't care. Get the largest number from that list, smallest number from this list, sum of that list. There's another function, average, this average function. Okay, if I just remove this, if I just remove this and I'll just put print in the screen, I'll put a keyword avg. These all are not working. These must require all of these will be requiring a library. So wait, let me just check if I can get the library. Okay, let me just check if I can get the library. If I got a Python compiler in my system, I'll show you guys. Mm, the handwritten notes of Python, but I don't have that Python. Just for one more time. Oh, I got Python. Okay, I have found the shell. Okay, Python shell, I have found it. So for the shell part, for the Python shell, wait, let me just set it up for you guys so that we people can actually see. Okay, so I have got my Python shell right there. Okay. So let me just towards system of Python shell. Okay, so if I just I have to just enter my Python shell. Okay, we put into Python. Okay, let me just show you the display right now. Okay, so display capture is right there. Okay, mm, this display capture is not working with this. Okay, my display capture is not working. So let me just show you first. Uh, okay, now if I just move my display, mm, okay, now my display is increased. Now let me just enter this one. Let me just open this one. Okay, so now if I just create a list name LST, this is actually Python shell. It's very much it's a basic base Python. Okay, in this you have to write every code by your own. So if I just write list as 10 comma 22.25 comma 301.5. Okay, and now I'll write print avg average lst. Now if I just run this module, let's leave this module. Okay, just save it. Okay. Mm, averages and design this. Okay, so just enter this one keyword. Okay, what's see it has given me the sum of it. Okay, for okay for the average of that, I can actually teach you how we guys can get the average. Let's just do the sum. Okay, let's just get the sum and space goes to sum list. Okay, b is equals to then lst. Okay, c is equals to sum divided by the number of factors a by b, and I'll just type print c. Um, yeah, we have got it sum. So that's how we can actually we have got the average. So that's how we can actually do this. Okay, now let me just stop. Now this was all for my today's video. Okay, so if you people have actually understood something, okay, if you people have actually done something, if you people actually got an idea of string and list, how they are actually working, then please guys like and subscribe. Then I'll meet you in the next video, getting some questions. Okay, I'll be having some practice questions. We will do practice questions. After those practice questions, we will now proceed to tuples and all. Okay, so till then, please keep problem solving, and I hope you guys have solve those questions which I have given you in in the previous lecture. If you guys haven't, then please do them. Till then, goodbye, bye bye, see you, take care, and keep doing the problem solving part. Till then, bye bye.